Hey guys, I'm Mike, welcome back to the channel Mike Tech Builds. You have joined me through my bedroom refurb. In today's video we'll be going through electrics, getting the cables through the joists into where we need for the plug sockets. We'll be insulating the floor as well, and then also we'll be laying new floorboards down so we can safely walk on the flooring instead of walking on these joists like I am right now, tiptoeing around and trying not to fall through the ceiling. Let's get started. So as you can see, we've got a double socket there, a double socket, another double socket, and one more over there. That's where all the sockets are going to be in the room. Over here we're going to have some wardrobes, so we're going to need sockets along there. We've got a radiator going on there, the bed coming along here, so socket either side of the bed. TV's going to go on the wall up there, and then I've just thought another little socket behind the units would be perfect down there. So in this bedroom, believe it or not, we only had one socket working over here, even though our bed was over there, so we always had to have extension leads run all the way over here just for that, which is a pain in the arse. So as you can see, I've pulled out the old cables already. Obviously isolate the electrics when you come to do yours, so I've just put connectors on the old cables, and then what we're going to be doing, we're going to be running our new cables from there to our new sockets, and then all the way back, and then basically make a circuit. For our cables to go through to the sockets, we're going to need to drill some holes in the joists. You only want to drill a hole big enough to fit two cables through. Luckily for me, as you can see, I've got cables running through the joist already. You might have this in your room as well, so if the hole's big enough to fit two extra cables, by all means use the same hole. If not, just drill a hole next to it, centre to the joist, top and bottom. So this is a great little idea I thought I would have, as the cable didn't come in a box, it just come in a little reel. So I thought, well, how can I get this around my bedroom without it getting all tangled up? So I cut a little bit of cable off, thread it through the cables, and drilled it and screwed it to the joist. I thought, oh, this is a great little idea. But as you'll see in a sec, this almost ended my life. Ready, and oh, that screw almost went through that pipe, and that would have been a nice little waterfall in my bedroom. I am so glad that didn't happen. But back to the cable. As you can see, it all went on, and there you see me struggling. Keep on struggling. No, I still struggled. It wasn't a great idea, if I'm honest. You can try it yourself, you might have a better luck doing it, but it took a bit of time and effort to put through, and I kept going, and in the end it worked out alright. Kept threading the cable all the way through the joists, managing to get it up to the sockets where I needed it to do. Once you've got your cable through your groove and past your back box, allow access for roughly about a foot long, so about 300 millimeters or 30 centimeters depending on what you're working, so you can cut a nice bit of cable to go into your socket, and you're not left with a tiny little bit of cable sticking out, finding it hard to screw into the back of your socket. When putting your cables in the wall, always secure them with cable clips. You can get ones made for the different thickness of the cables that you're putting into the walls. Make sure you put enough in there for it to hold, ready for the plastering, and then before we plaster, we're going to put a metal trunking over the cables so nothing can go through. With the cable, we just put it in a nice little circle and tuck it in the back box. That way, once this all gets plastered, our cables don't get covered in plaster, and it keeps the plaster happy because this isn't sticking out and it doesn't affect its plastering. And then as you can see, I've tacked it every so often all the way down to the floor. Right, so we've done one, we've got 3 to go, let's go. So all looking good. So we've done 1 socket, 2 socket, 3 socket. We've run our cable back through the joist to our last socket, and then we're going to go back to where the live is over there. While running our cable through the joist and me tacking it to the joist, I noticed a little nick in the cable. So I stripped it back just to see if there was any nicks in the cable visible, but there wasn't. So what I'm going to do, just to make sure, I'm going to cut this cable here and cut it here, and we're going to put a little junction box in the corner over there, and then that'll feed on. What we don't want to do is do all this work and then to be told that there's a cut in the cable somewhere and we'll not get any power. So we'd have to take up all our flooring, and we don't want to do that. So just on the safe side, even though the cable does look fine, I can't see any visible damage, but there could be a little bit of damage inside that we can't see. So just to make sure, we're going to cut the cable and put a little junction box in there. Not what we wanted to do, unfortunately, but these things happen. So if you see a little nick in the cable, always strip it back just to see if you've got any damage in the cable, because the last thing you're going to want to do is put all your flooring down, carpet it all, and then to be told your sockets aren't working and there's a fault in the cable somewhere. So we're going to get that done. So as you can see, we've put a junction box, we've screwed it to the joist. We've got one cable that goes in and another cable goes out. We actually used a brand new bit of cable in the end, because we found out the original bit of cable where the break was, it wasn't long enough to go back to where our socket was. So this is a brand new bit of cable for another reel. Just make sure when you come in to do your cable that you've got enough cable from going all the way around, so you don't want it to be short. Otherwise you're going to have to do what I've had to do. But as you can see, we've disconnected it all, cut it all and joined it with Wagos. So all we're going to do now is push these in and then stick our lid on. So that's one junction box done. Now we're going to go and follow the cable up to our meeting point. So as you can see, we've put our new junction box and screwed it to the joist. We've isolated the power downstairs, don't forget, because you don't want any electric shocks. These are our old cables and they've run into our junction box. These are our new cables that also go into our junction box, and then we've connected them up. Here's a quick video of how that was done. So this is fairly easy to do. All you're going to do is join in old cables to new cables in through your junction box. So once you've got all your cables pulled through your junction box, you're going to want to separate them all into three, so you'll have your live, neutral and earth. In my case, I was connecting new cables, which is brown, blue and earth, to my old existing cables, which back in the day were red, black and earth. So red is live, brown is live, so we connected these two, and then black is neutral and blue is neutral, so we connected these together. And then your earths are just the cable without any sleeve on it, so you want to make sure you get some earth cable sleeve and thread this over the cable and then connect it into your little Wago box. Just bear in mind, when you're trying to connect them into your Wago box and putting them in, you've got quite a few cables to put into your little junction box. So just bear in mind, you've got to try and squeeze all these in and make sure they're all nice and tight in there, and then you're ready to go. So now we've screwed the lid onto the face of our junction box, and that is our first fixed cables in. Now we're going to hoover all this floor and then we're going to insulate it. Before we insulate, we're going to do a couple of things before we do that, just because they might create a little bit more mess. So do you remember where we cut our old flooring? I got you to cut along the joist. We're going to put a new bit of timber along the joist, screwing that into the joist for our flooring to go onto. So this was our old bit of flooring that we cut along the joist. So now we're going to screw a bit of timber along there. Don't worry about where, if you've got things in the middle, all we're going to do is butt up to them and butt up to the cables, and when we come to do the floor, I'm going to show you a way round so the floor doesn't flap or anything, because there'll be a gap where the cables are. So we've hoovered the floor, we put our timber in for the floor in. Now we're going to insulate the floor. Best insulation that I would use is just 100mm fluffy stuff. I'll show you in a sec. So this is the insulation we'll be using. If you want to wear gloves, go for it. All you're going to need is a tape measure and a handsaw and a Stanley knife if you've got one. On these loft rolls of 100mm insulation, it does say partially cut for ideal 400 to 600mm joist. That meaning if you measure from the end in 400, it is partially cut through the middle. So measure there and cut through there, and then our joists are 400 centres, so they should roll all in between the joists, lovely and tight. So all we're going to do, get your tape measure, measure in 400, pow, and then we're going to cut. Don't worry about the mess we're making because it's all insulation, every little helps. And then you're just going to cut little rolls like this all the way through. Now you can see our rolls are all cut into three. We're going to start from the back end and work our way along, rolling it all the way through, cutting at the end, start again, and repeat this process until it's all laid out. So as you can see, it unravels quite easy. All I was doing is rolling it out, making sure I had it tucked underneath the pipes right to the end, and then where I got to anything in the way, so like I've got the brackets or any cables and pipes, I used a Stanley knife to cut it free. Just be careful, obviously you don't want to go through anything. With the insulation, if you've got it cut into your centres of your joist, it will go in nice and tight and snug. Don't worry if you've cut it too short, just cut another little bit to go next to it. Any insulation is better than no insulation. So at the end of this video, I forgot to say this will be end of this part, and then in the next video I'll be going through with you how to do all the flooring. So as always, thank you for watching. If you haven't done already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I've got loads more content coming for this bedroom build and I can't wait to show you all. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye.